Hi, all my storytime friends out in Cyberland. This is Shari, Youth Librarian Shari, coming to you as usual from the youth programming room here at the Southfield Public Library. I am hoping that we'll be in person doing storytime soon. But until then, I'm so happy to be here for another episode of Story Shenanigans. And today we're going to talk about time. Because in the month of March, which is when I'm recording this, you may not be watching it in March, but when I'm recording it, it's time for daylight savings time. That's when we march ahead. March ahead. I made it funny. We march ahead an hour. So we're going to turn our clocks, our phones, your grown-ups' phones are going to go ahead an hour. Have you ever seen a clock? I bet you have. We have them here in the library. You may have them in your school. They're still around. This is an example of a clock on the cover of this wonderful book about telling time called Telling Time Together by Adriana Morganelli. We have a lot of books on clocks and telling time. It's a really important skill. I hope that you'll consider maybe coming into the library and asking one of the librarians, maybe even me, to help you find a time book to check out with your library card. And because I want you to work on telling time, I'm going to show you how to make a clock that you can practice telling time on. It's not going to be a clock like this. It's not going to have a motor and go tick, 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 but it is going to be one that you can practice telling time on so you know when the time is, what time it is without even looking at your grown-up cell phone. But you can go and look at a clock and you're going to know. Not that there's anything wrong with digital clocks either. They're great, but it is wonderful to know how to tell time on a clock. Like this one that I made out of a paper plate, some construction paper, but you can use any kind of paper. Typing paper is fine. A couple of markers to draw the numbers on, and this piece that I have my hands attached to. It's called a paper fastener. It splits in half so that your hands will be able to move. And you can get these at any office supply store. They're very inexpensive. So you're going to draw your numbers on your plate with a marker of your choice. You can do different colors. I did all one color. And I've got a second plate here that I drew my numbers on. You start with a 12 at the top. You put a 6 at the bottom. And then all the way back to 12. So 1 through 12 on your plate in a circle. Then you're going to make a minute hand, which is going to be your big hand. And then a smaller hand, which is going to be your minute hand. And you're going to have a grown-up. I forgot to tell you one of the most important things to make sure you have, along with your paper, your markers, your paper fastener, and your plate, is a grown-up to help you, because this is tricky. You're going to punch a hole in the plate using your brad or maybe using a pencil or scissors, but make sure grown-up helps you with that. I've got my brad here, and I'm going to split it like that, just like that, and push it against the back of the paper plate. So it looks like that from the back, and here it is from the front, and now you can tell time. So if I move my big hand, I'm moving my big hand to the 12. There we go. Had to put it on. And I've got my little hand at the 7. So the 12 means 60 minutes. And then there's the hour hand. It's the 7th hour. That means it's what time? It's 7 o'clock. And you can have lots of fun practicing telling time on your very own clock that you made with a grown-up's help, of course. I hope that you'll do this activity at home. It does require just a few materials. I know the paper fasteners can be tricky, but like I said, you can just get those at an office supply store. You can get a whole box very inexpensively. And then you can make your very own clock, or maybe a few clocks and have them in different places so you can practice telling time. I was so happy to have had this time with you. And I hope that you'll come visit the Southfield Public Library and check out lots of great books like Telling Time Together by Adriana Morganelli. I hate to say it, but our time for today, for this episode of Story Shenanigans, is over. It goes so fast. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.